All right. I apologize that I keep taking long with all of these post-game shows because unfortunately for the most part I'm a one-man army here. But that's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about game 77 of the regular season. The Rangers beat the Detroit Red Wings 4-3 in regulation too. So very important there in terms of a tiebreaker situation and scenario. The Rangers desperately needed to get a regulation win. They need a win in general because Carolina ended up winning tonight. So keeps them on top in the Eastern Conference, keeps them on top in the Metro, and they got to just keep doing it. They control their own destiny here, and this was a huge, important win. The top guys didn't really show up in this game. The bottom six did show up in this game and help bail out the top guys having a poor performance. So very nice to see that the depth of this team actually was able to come through. Second period was a problem again. We're not going to sugarcoat that. The second period problem, it's becoming a it's definitely becoming a thing, and hopefully we do not have to worry about that too much longer. But I would like that to not continue. I would like Miller and Trouba still broken up. But regardless, for the most part, very solid game, especially the fourth line that played a very good game. The third line as well. We're going to deep dive into all of it. Leave a like here way into the post-game show. Subscribe if you guys have not. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live. This earthquake must have caused a lot of chaos because the Mets are now on a 2-game win streak, and Jeff McNeil hit a home run. I'll talk about the Mets, though, on my Mets channel. If you want to check that out, go check that out. But Barclay Goodrow scored 2 goals in this game. I cannot believe it, but we're going to talk about everything like I mentioned. So first period, a brutal turnover by Zarnik right to Will Coley, and he ended up scoring. The Rangers opened the scoring there after they invited a lot of pressure in their own end, and they had a lot of trouble this period in general with moving the puck out of their own end. Detroit responded right away with a goal of their own as Larkin hit the post on a chance. Kane couldn't bury the rebound. Then Detroit right after came right up the ice. Schneider couldn't win a board battle, got beat there, and Rosovic and Gustafsson just puck watching there. Cobb buries it from in front of the net to tie the game up at 1 right after, because Andrew Cobb, of course, scored because former Rangers have to score. Patrick Kane didn't score, but regardless, it's pretty much a law that at least one former Ranger, if they're on the team, has to score against the Rangers. And then the Rangers would make it 2-1 off of a faceoff. VC would put it on goal. Goudreau, I should say. I almost said Trocheck. Goudreau takes it and then ends up burying it from in front of the net to make it 2-1. Through line off on the angle there. And I thought it was a decent period for the Rangers. I thought the bottom six played a good game there in the first period. But every time the first line was out there, they were hemmed in their own end. Every time the Trouba Miller pair was out there, they were hemmed in their own end. Unfortunately, both of those things were a trend throughout the majority of this night. But regardless, I mean, pretty much right in the second period, right at the beginning of the second period, the Rangers invited pressure in their own zone yet again. And the Wings just, again, continuing to put on the pressure. Terrible breakout attempts yet again. Petrie to Confer in front, and it goes into the net there. I think it went off of his skate there. But Panarin's just gliding, not helping. Miller's too busy chasing somebody around, trying to cross-check. And then I don't know what Lindgren's doing there, trying to tie up Confer, or lack of tying up Confer there. But that ended up making it 2-2. And again, just all period getting a lot of solid chances. The Rangers did have solid chances themselves, a lot of it from the bottom six, like I mentioned. But again, they need to desperately fix this second period thing, because this is what, the third game in a row now that the Rangers in the second period have been shaky. They've been shaky in these second periods because, yeah, it was last game against New Jersey for sure. Pittsburgh, I believe, too, was a lot because of the second period play there as well. Actually, no, they didn't allow anything in the second period. But I'm pretty sure they allowed a lot of chances in the second period. I could be wrong. Arizona was one of those games where the second period was a problem. But it would be 3-2 for Detroit. They would take a lead in this game, as they would get a power play because Gustafsson took a bad penalty. I still would like Zach Jones in the lineup over him. I'm not going to lie. And then off of a draw shot on goal, everybody's puck watching there. Trouba's on a damn island, and Larkin would score the goal there on that rebound that went off the crossbar, 3-2. But the Rangers would end up scoring right back as Schneider up the ice to Brodzinski to Goudreau in front. Barclay Goudreau scored 2 goals. I cannot believe it. That tied the game up at 3. Neither team played good defense that period, but again, you want to see the Rangers start to clean things up in these second periods because it is going to be an issue if they keep playing second periods this way. But it's not like it was as bad as New Jersey. So you could at least hang your hat on that if you're going to hang your hat on anything. But credit to the fourth line throughout the entirety of this game because they got a lot of the best chances throughout the entirety of the game, and especially in the third period too. They're the ones that scored the most. Credit to the fourth line. I was questioning the decision making of taking Rempe out of the lineup, and sure enough, it worked out with Johnny Brodzinski even getting a lot of shots on goal in this game as well. He looked pretty solid. Everyone that fourth line did. It would be 4-3 as Perron took a dumb high sticking penalty in the offensive zone. Mika kept firing the puck until eventually he faked one, and then Kreider would tap one in to make it 4-3. Classic Chris Kreider goal there on the power play, tapping goal, nothing new. And Trouba would take a dumb penalty of his own later on in the period, and I thought for sure Detroit was going to tie it there. And at the end, too, they kill it off, and then with the empty net, Panarin hits the post. Patrick Kane had a chance right in front to hang his nuts on the Rangers, and for some reason, he passed the puck there. Thank you, Patrick, for helping out the Rangers there. Appreciate you for that. And it ended up working out as the Rangers hold on to win the game. They played a very solid third period as well. Didn't allow a lot of quality chances, if any, at all, except for maybe when the net was empty. But even then, I don't know if they did. Third period was probably their best period in terms of their defensive side of the game. But yeah, very solid win there. Yet again, for the Rangers. And fourth line, like I mentioned, played very good. Adam Fox played a very good game as well. Will Cooley, Kakko. Wenberg, too. Wenberg had a little bit of trouble burying the puck. He had one right in front of the net. I don't even think it registered as a shot on goal for Alex Wenberg. He definitely had it rough in terms of finishing in front of the net and just getting the quality opportunities there, but still played a solid game. Had a pretty good game too from I don't know. I'm trying to think of who else played a solid game because outside of that, like I mentioned, the top 6 played a pretty underwhelming game, to be completely honest, throughout the entirety. Like I can't even remember a lot of quality shifts outside maybe the second line that had a few rush chances, but even then that second line didn't come through at all. And they're going to have nights off, so I'm not too mad about it. The first line, though, Rosovic could not keep doing just cardio out there. Rosovic did not play good. He only got 8 minutes of ice time, so that also says a lot about what maybe Laviolette's thinking about Rosovic's game right now. And I know they were on the special teams a lot, but he rolled with what was working out there. So love to see that at the very least, where in years past, this team, even if the bottom 6 was talking, they'd still continue to be hopped over the boards, and it would just be the top 6 getting burnt out there. But Rosovic needs to be better. I thought Miller had a poor game. Lindgren had a poor game as well. Trouba didn't love all their games. But again, sometimes your depth needs to be the guys that come through, and that's what it was in this game. And the only concern that I do have that has been a thing for the past few games is still Miller, Trouba together, and still the first line that, and again, Mika and Kreider got points on the power play, but I want to see it at 5v5, and I want to see them be better at 5v5. So there needs to be accountability there, though. We'll say that. But that's really all I honestly have to say with this game. Like, there's really not a lot to talk about with this game at all. This was kind of just a simple game, to be honest with you, outside of the fact that the score was closer than it needed to be, and the way the second period was again, just not ideal. So they move on to Montreal now, who they play on Sunday, 7 o'clock. Then they play the Islanders. That's going to be a tough game because of the fact that the Islanders are going to play them tough. They're trying to scrape out these wins to make the playoffs. They climbed to third in the division now because Washington lost. They're getting their way into the playoffs here. They're getting everything going right for them. So I hate it as a Ranger fan, but we'll see what happens. Could be a first round matchup as well if the Rangers take care of business against them like they should in those 2 games. You got to beat the freaking Islanders, and also the Flyers would have to climb up the standings as well. But I digress. We'll move on to the chat now. So leave a like if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't. And I am going to keep this a little shorter, just a little bit of a warning, because I do have to do a Mets post game. And then I have to watch the Knicks game that I recorded and do a recap on that, because the sports gods, for some reason, decided to put every single one of my teams on today, which is very annoying. But yeah, let's see what you guys have to say in the chat. Third, fourth line, stellar. Hopefully, Goodrow's heating up. I agree with that, Hockey Dad. Miller, after a great few weeks, reverts back to his crappy play. Miller in the second bad pass turnover, and why the hell was he just standing between the dots on that second goal? No idea. But yeah, it was a problem. He was gifting the puck away a lot. Gustafsson had some issues. Just in general, how many times do I talk about this? The Rangers' biggest enemy is themselves with the way they manage the puck. It's just that simple, and it's the damn truth. They get in their own way with the way they manage the puck. Nobody gets in their way like themselves with the puck movement. Not pretty, but they keep finding ways. Yeah, Josh. I didn't think the defense was horrendous all night. I think like in the second period and the first period, it was definitely shaky as well at points. I thought the third period they were fine defensively personally, but again, their biggest issue all night was moving the puck out of their own end. But when it came to actually defending, I didn't necessarily hate it in the third period. Yeah, even the Penguins might get a playoff spot at this rate, which is just crazy. When you get a W, when your top six doesn't perform, you always take that. Bottom six came up big tonight. I don't know how Goodrow scored 2, but he somehow did it. Yeah, I don't know either. I agree, Logan, that I wish there was more fire with Kreider's game at 5v5. I really do. More Schneider, less Trouba. I agree with that. Entire fourth line should be the 3 stars of the game. I agree with that as well. The fourth line played their ass off, and good for them. And yeah, that's another thing on those passes. They always try to get to Kreider, and when he does get it, outside of the underskating or slowing down and just never gets in stride, when he does get in stride, he just throws a weak shot on goal anyway. Brodzinski trying to prove me wrong is right, and I'll take it. Listen, yeah, I agree. If Goodrow could heat up come playoff time, I will take it. I will absolutely take it. And yeah, the top 2 lines were dog shit, Rob. You're not wrong. Bottom 6 won the game. The other solid game in net with Jonathan Quick. And that's another thing. I don't know how many more games we're going to get here of Jonathan Quick, but just round of applause to him regardless for this season. Round of a damn applause for a guy that myself included thought was cooked. Man, I am in shock with the way, like, I think he gets 2 more games. If I had to guess, he's going to get the Philly game next Thursday, and he's going to get the last game of the season, especially if everything's all wrapped up by then. Even then, you should be able to beat Ottawa with Jonathan Quick in that. I say Quick gets 2 more games. I thought Quick was going to get Sunday, Igor tonight, and then they were going to go to Igor Tuesday, Quick, Igor, Quick, and just let it be every other, just to give Igor a little more rest here and there. But apparently that's not what they're doing, and I'm fine with it. But good for Jonathan Quick. He proved myself and a lot of other fans wrong. Yep, because that's the Rangers' way. Not to let the top gun score, but to let Andrew Kopp score. That guy always scores against the Rangers, it feels like now. Yeah, Rosovic was not good. Good question, Josh. I got no idea why they are not efficient at clearing the puck out of their own end. You cannot put Rempe back in the lineup after this game. The bottom 6 played so good. I'm sorry. I like Rempe, and I like seeing him in the bottom six, but there's no way you could put Rempe back in the lineup with the way the bottom six played tonight. You just can't do it. Rangers only need 3 wins to win the Metro. Let's see the magic number there. Yeah, 3. They only need 3 points, actually, to win the Metro. So a win against Montreal and a point, which the Islanders do love their loser points. So at least 1 point against the Islanders would get the job done if the Rangers end up doing that. Thanks to the Rangers, the Penguins now officially control their own destiny. You're welcome there, Jim. Yeah, it was definitely cardiac Rangers when the net was empty and they made it close. Got to give a shout out to Brodzinski. He's had a couple bad games, and I want Rempe in the lineup. He stepped up and played well. Agree with that, Matt. Agree with that completely. And yeah, you're starting to see it with Roslovic, and this is why I didn't love the pickup for the guy playing the first line, because I simply was not on board with the whole trying to get the Vetrano magic again when there's a reason that was magic. Like, I don't know. My Mets channel is called Mets Central, and then my next one is Knicks Central, if any of you guys want to check that out. The magic number is 3 points for the Rangers to clinch the Metro. So they don't have to win out. They just need 3 more points. So 2 wins, get it done, or a win and a Carolina loss whenever Carolina play it. When does Carolina play next? Let's see. And who do they play next? Columbus. They are not losing that game. All right, so Rangers kind of control their destiny here. Just go win 2 games. Go beat Montreal. Go beat the damn Islanders. Or if not, if they win on Sunday, there is a chance Carolina does lose to Boston, which I don't know if I want that, because at that point, like I said, you want Boston and Carolina to split those 2 games set, if you will, that they have, because you want the Rangers to keep first in the East, and then you want Carolina to trail in the Metro. I say the Rangers should just do it themselves and get the 2 wins, because it's better either way to win and to win the division by winning yourself versus relying on other teams to get you in. Brodzinski or Rempe? Depends who the hotter player is going in, but I will say that if Brodzinski plays like he did tonight down the stretch, he's going to be in the lineup. I already answered that. I'd like Zach Jones back in the lineup. Who am I predicting to ultimately get the 2 wildcard spots? Good question. I mean, I think the Islanders at this point are going to make the playoffs. I really do, and I hate it. Unless the Rangers do beat them twice, which could help, but it feels like Washington just can't help but hurt themselves, and then Philly's just in a downward spiral right now. I'll go the Islanders and Red Wings at this point. And I know that the Red Wings kind of were underwhelming tonight, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be those 2. Although Pittsburgh, maybe. It could be Pittsburgh. I will say there is a big game, though, coming up to watch. Buffalo. Don't count Buffalo out. They play Detroit. And, man, if Buffalo just freaking... There was one game a couple weeks ago that was so monumental for them. I think they played Detroit, actually. Yeah, when they lost 4-1 a couple weeks ago. Felt like just yesterday. Where's the time gone this season? The fact that there's only 5 games left this season is ridiculous itself. But yeah, a couple weeks ago, they lost to Detroit 4-1. If they won that game, this conversation would be ridiculous right now because Buffalo would be sitting with 81 points. Detroit would be sitting with 80. And Buffalo has the tiebreaker over Pittsburgh and Washington in terms of wins. Buffalo would legitimately have a chance, but this is the classic Buffalo way. I don't think they actually make it. This is what Buffalo does every year. They get hot at the end, just miss the playoffs, and we think next year will be different. It's not different. They suck, and they do it all over again. So I'm not falling for the Buffalo thing again, but I will say you cannot count out the Buffalo Sabres at all. And yes, they do need to limit the stretch passes. I really do share your concerns about keeping Key and Trouba together. Evan, you have me thinking orders might be coming from higher up than the coach, which sucks. Listen, that's all speculation. Again, I'm not claiming that it's the truth because I don't have any info and I'm not in the locker room. But I will say that the fact that they've gone through 3 coaches now and nobody has seen it is definitely a little odd to me. And that's why I keep saying this team, the only thing getting in their damn way is themselves. Rangers Penguins round 1 could happen. It could. It's so weird that the Rangers are in a spot where they have no idea who they're going to play. It's so weird that we're sitting here not knowing who they're going to play. Yeah, they want to give the 2 Islander games to Igor for sure. I don't know about this, Anthony, unless I don't even want to say what I'm thinking. I don't even want to say those words. I don't think Quick is going to get playoff games, though. I don't think so. Yeah, on the second half of a back-to-back play Montreal, you gotta win. It's 6 points, bum. What's 6 points? Need to play Rempe against both times they play the Islanders. I mean, didn't they beat the Islanders without Rempe pretty handily? Maybe they don't. Four points to clinch the division? Isn't it 3? I'm looking at the Magic Number website and it says 3. Which sounds more reasonable too. If the bottom 6 can produce what they did tonight and transition that into the playoffs, fantastic. I think the D pairs need fixing, but goalies need to stay hot. I agree with that completely. Again, that's my biggest worry right now of this team is the D pairs. That wouldn't make sense though, because then we'll have 11, and if the Canes win out, they'll have 113. Really? You think it's 5? I don't know. I mean, the Rangers though. Wait, I want to try to figure this out. They have 5 games left. Carolina. The Rangers also have 5. So if the Rangers got 3 points, let's just say even then they got 3 instead of 4. Beat Montreal, and then they lose in overtime to the Islanders. That would put them at 111. And then the Canes, what are they sitting at right now? Canes are at, it just had up 103. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Wait, 105. Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. 107, 109. Yeah, that's a little odd. I don't know why it's 5. Yeah, I don't know why the website says 3 here. That's confusing to me. Well, whether it's that or whatever, the Rangers should be able to handle business against these teams. I mean, you got to be able to beat Montreal, you got to beat Philly, you got to beat the Islanders at least one of the games, and you got to beat Ottawa. Like, I think 4-1 is very reasonable to ask for this team down the stretch here. Okay, it's 5 points. I don't know why the website says that. I would say it's crazy, Blake, considering you were saying that you think Carolina's the team to beat in the East. Are you out on Carolina now? Yeah, I don't. To me, I don't. Whoever they play, they play. I understand the concerns people have. To me, the only concern I have is this own team getting in the way. It's just that simple because we've seen the movie. Struba skiing like he has a deuce in his shorts. My God. Yeah, I want the President's Trophy too. I'm hoping they could get it. If Carolina could somehow lose to Columbus on Sunday, that would just be so great. Like, why do they have this easy schedule here down the stretch? Why do they have Columbus, St. Louis, Chicago, and Columbus again down the stretch here? It's so annoying. What? Yeah. And this is the thing, Josh. The way the Rangers need to win a cup is by slaying demons. They need to slay their demons for once. I don't know what's up with Mika this year. I truly have no idea. I know NYR for life. I know he does. I could agree with that. That Carolina can maybe get upset in round one, kind of like the Rangers, but also have the chance to win the cup. I could agree with that. But I don't think they would lose to the Islanders. Like, they handled the Islanders well last year, and this Carolina team this year, in my opinion, is better than the one last year. And the Islander team this year is worse than the one last year. And there's a reason too that I know playoffs is different, but I don't know, like, there's a 20-point gap there for a reason. There's a reason the Islanders are strictly in right now due to overtime losses. Because right now, if it was strictly wins and losses like a normal freaking league would be, the Islanders would be behind the New Jersey Devils, who are in Ottawa Senators territory right now. So they wouldn't even be sniffing the postseason right now because Philly would be ahead, Washington would be ahead, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, New Jersey, and Ottawa would be right behind them. Do I want Rempe in the playoffs? Depending on the situation. Agreed, D. Just winning at the points. It's just annoying that Carolina has this type of schedule because it would help if they would just at least lose a damn game every now and then. And this is another big point that I've been trying to hammer home. NYR for life is nailing it right on the damn head here. If the Rangers want to win the cup, they need to win a series in 5 or 6. Going to game 7s all the time burns them out. And it burnt Florida out last year as well. Look at what happened when they had to play 7 games in round 1. I said this to Matt, who's in the chat right now, that I will be convinced that it's the year when the Rangers win their first round matchup in 5 games here for this year only. If they win their first round in 4 or 5 games and they beat Carolina in round 2, I will be very convinced at that point that this is the year. That will be what tells me that this is 100% the year. Different NYR for life there. I know both of you said it, but different NYR for life. I don't know if Mike NYR for life's in the chat right now. And yeah, they were. What are my thoughts on if Tampa gets third and we have to play Toronto in the first round? I don't love playing either team. I mean, I don't think they're gonna have to. I really at least hope they don't have to play either one of Tampa or Toronto. But if this team's as good as we say, they got to beat Toronto. And I know they have dangerous weapons up front, but again, you got to be able to beat good teams if you want to be the Stanley Cup champion. Simple as that. It is just that simple that there's no easy route. It does not exist. Look at Vegas last year. They had to play Winnipeg in round 1, took care of business, and Winnipeg's probably better than how quick the Knights finished that series off. They play Edmonton, another team that has all these weapons up front. They beat them. Then they end up beating in the conference finals. What was it? Dallas, right? They beat Dallas in the conference finals, another very good team. And then they beat a red-hot Florida team in the Cup. That's all quality opponents right there. You look at Colorado, but they were kind of just a wagon that year that it feels like an outlier because, I mean, they beat Nashville, who didn't have really any business being in the playoffs at all. And they didn't have Saros that year, I believe. I don't think they had Saros at least. Forgot who they played in round 2. What was it? Minnesota or St. Louis? I mean, Colorado's kind of an outlier there, but like you get my point that you're going to have to play tough teams regardless at some point. You have to be able to beat anybody, like Robert said. Yeah, I don't know. It felt like Laugh didn't play really at all at the end of the game. Go for the President's Trophy, Josh. Because I've said it time and time again, this team desperately needs home ice, and I also want home ice to run through the Garden. I simply want it to run through the Garden the entire postseason. Because for vibes and for matchups, how much better is it to have the playoffs run through the Garden? They beat St. Louis. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, that's right. They did beat St. Louis. And then in the conference finals, they beat... Who was it that they beat in the conference finals? Why am I blanking on this as well? Did Edmonton make the conference finals that year? Yeah, because they beat Calgary in round 2. I think they freaking dog walked Edmonton too. And then they ended up beating, of course, in the finals, Tampa Bay. Which, listen, as much as it would have been cool for the Rangers to make the finals that year, they would have got dog walked by Colorado. They absolutely would have. Yeah, the Oilers. Sorry, Blake. I apologize, man. They did not beat Dallas. They did not beat Dallas. I think the Avs would have steamrolled the Rangers that series, especially with how the Rangers looked in that Tampa series. I think that series would have ended in 5. And yeah, the Garden is crucial. Yeah, Wenberg's been solid so far. I agree. Mike Smith legacy performance. Oh God. Not sure what you're asking about there, but yeah, I don't know. Like the main point is you got to beat good teams if you want to win the cup. It's just that simple. And honestly, there's really like underratedly round 1, a team could give them fits. Like I don't want to count out anyone. Oh, the Cardiac Ranger shirts. I'm not sure what sizes are available, but I know that I do have, of course, on the website, Cardiac Ranger shirts here. Let's see what size you can get them in. Yeah, there's double XL, everything. But I am going to wrap things up here because, like I said, I wanted to keep it a little shorter. Ended up going longer than I thought. Pause. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my Mets recap, do the Knicks recap. Got a lot to do tonight. So, long night for me. Gonna get to it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Leave a like on your way out. Subscribe if you haven't. Turn on your notifications so you know when I upload or go live on the channel next. And I'll see you guys in the next one.